Hello and welcome to the first bonus episode of Utawarerumono, Mask of Truth. This is going to be our first reading session of the glossary and probably one of the lengthiest, if not the lengthiest one, because there's a bunch of stuff to go through, holy moly. Starting off with Anju. I just had a little skim and there's a lot of text. Man, oh man. But without further ado, let's read out this little bit for the Imperial Munchkin. Anju, the princess of Yamato, the only child of the Mikado, the god incarnate. There are many avid worshippers among the citizens of Yamato. Anju is an easygoing girl who acts and speaks in the willful, self-indulgent manner of a child of noble birth. One day, she appeared in the Hakurokaku Inn as an unassuming city girl. She encountered Haku while lounging in his room as if it were her own. She took a liking to him, noticing that he spoke to her with no mind for her status, and her visits grew more and more frequent. She is infatuated with Oshto, and often starts numerous commotions that drag others into her messes. The substitute imperial governess, Munechika, sometimes has difficulty keeping up with her mischief. After the demise of the Mikado, just as she was dealing with her worries over ascending the throne, Anju was poisoned and imprisoned. She was rescued by Oshito, Haku, and her friends. However, due to the side effects of the poison, her vocal cords were left severely damaged, leaving her near mute, and she remained in a near catatonic state. After escaping to Camyu, she now spends her days recovering in the guest houses. Okay, next up is Aruruu, a woman involved in the establishment of the country of Tuskuru, as well as a wielder of the powers of a Yana Mauna. She has the body language of a small child, and a simple but slightly callous manner of speech. She came to Yamato as a member of the diplomatic delegates from Tuskuru along with Camyu, and was reunited with Kuon there. After enjoying the sightseeing in the Imperial Capital, she returned to her own country, wishing the best for Haku and Kuon. To Kuon, she is like an older sister. Atuy, hello there, love. An extremely laid-back girl who is always cheerful and speaks with a curious provincial accent. Atuy can be a bit spacey, and she's prone to frequent and intense crushes. At the same time, however, she's a person of immediate action. This often means more trouble for the team. She often wears kurarin on her head. Little by little, she became a valuable member of Haku's team, since staying in the Hakurokaku Inn with them, and her father is a close acquaintance of Oshito. In battle, she wields her two-pronged spear, and because of her experiences in childhood, she acts more like a bloodthirsty berserker who enjoys the thrill of violent conflicts. Her father is the Olo of Shiahoro, Suyankikar. With her unique outlook on life and death, she did not seem overly affected by Haku's passing, but it seemed to stir an unfamiliar feeling within her. Oh, Benawi, the War Master of Tuskuru, a calm and even-handed general who rides a white Wapto. Kurou is his direct subordinate. He's extremely intellectual and a master of the lance. When Yamato invaded Tuskuru, he intercepted Munechika's forces at their fortress. Knowing that Munechika excels in defense but not offense, Benawi employed a cunning tactic to corner her. Upon finding Kuon among Haku's team, a telling smile crossed his face. One of Kuon's educators, even when she went on journeys for herself, he would send homework along with her. Compared to Oboro's doting nature, Benawi is quite strict with her, but his loyalty is beyond question. And more than that, he loves her as family. Oh, Bokoinante, the shifty-eyed senior officer of Decopompo. Unlike his master, Bokoinante is a slim man who serves as both as his devoted sycophant in public and his willing accomplice in private. In battle, Bokoinante is in charge of military tactics, but he's ill-suited to it. In any situation, he gladly alters his own opinions to please his master, driving Mororo to despair when he accompanied them as their tactician. Camyu, a Kamunagi of Tuskuru. Camyu is a graceful beauty with huge black wings on her back. Along with Aruruu, she visited Yamato as a member of diplomatic delegates from Tuscuru. She wields strong magecraft, and she has the power to make herself invisible. In contrast with her mystic appearance, she is a quite friendly and easygoing person. When she snuck into the Hakurokaku Inn, she was found by Haku sleeping on his bed with her belly exposed. Haku deemed her a disappointing beauty. To Kuon, she is like an older sister. Cocopo! A Hororon bird that Utawarerumono rides. A very curious and playful bird, Cocopo is quite attached to Utawarerumono. It is a docile creature in general, but when aggravated, it reacts with enough ferocity and power to break any brigand's spirit. Cocopo serves adeptly as Utawarerumono's bodyguard when in combat. Dorry, a servant of the Olo of Tuscuru, Oboro, the blue leader of Tuscuru's Perirai, specializes in covert operations and always acts with his twin, Guraa, at his side. Fumirul, benevolent woman from Tuscuru, known for her radiant beauty and generous bosom. She serves Kuon and understands her well. To Kuon, she is something like a childhood friend, being very close in age. Oh, I wish there was more about her! Guraa, a servant of the Olo of Tuscuru, Oboro, the Fumirul leader of Tuscuru's Perirai, specializes in covert operation and always acts with his twin, Dorry, at his side. So pretty much the same description. Haku, the protagonist, found by Kuon, wandering half naked in the woods with no memories. She saved his life and gave him his name. According to Kuon, the name Haku has a distinguished history behind it. Originally, he appeared to have lost his memories, but after encountering his brother, the Mikado, he came to remember his past. He's not exactly a hard-working type, but he's quick-witted and quite insightful. Partial to strong drink, either alone or partying with others, he's also knowledgeable about sweets, and occasionally dabbles in trying to create new confections with Utawarerumono. Oshita, the true identity of Ukon, recognized him as a capable man, and asked him to work as a secret operative under Oshita's direct command. In the chaos triggered by the death of the Mikado, he rescued the imprisoned Anju from the fray of the Imperial Capital, and attempted to escape to Kamui with his friends. In their attempt to escape, however, Oshita exhausted all of his strength to stop Burai from pursuing them. With Haku watching over his final moments, Oshita entrusted his legacy to him and passed away. From then on, Haku cast off his name and assumed the identity of Oshita, resolving to lead the others into battle in his friend's stead, so that Anju might one day reclaim the title of Mikado. Oh, and then there's another bit for Haku. Okay. Honoka, a pure and innocent woman. She accompanies the old man Mito, who Haku met through the guidance of Aruruu and Sarana. Something about her presence seemed to fill Haku with a sense of nostalgia and comfort. When the Mikado passed, she went missing. Irawaji, Olo of Kamui, and the grandfather of Kurou. Irawaji gave his support when Oshita first left for the Imperial Capital to begin his military service. Oshita reserved particular respect for the man, calling him Your Grace. Being the Olo of the peaceful Kamui, he is not a warrior, but a cultured and well-educated man who has mastered song and art, as well as distinguishing himself in academic fields. He welcomed Oshita, Haku, and Anju with open arms after they escaped the Imperial Capital. Knowing that a political storm was on the horizon, he gave full control of Kamui to Oshita, Haku. Jachdwalt, a man who's made a name for himself as a legendary swordsman. He earned his title of Jachdwalt, the Mirage Blade, thanks to his unbelievably quick swordplay, blurring the air around him and leaving mirage-like after-images in the air. Given his ever-casual manner of speaking, he is often seen as an easygoing person of frivolous disposition. However, those who are close to Jachdwalt know him as a passionate and honorable man. He was forced to fight Yamato when the forces of Uzurusha had taken Shinonon as a hostage, but he instead chose to join forces with Haku and the others. In combat, he provides support to Haku with both his sword techniques and thoughtful insight, stemming from his experienced outlook. While in the Imperial Capital, he often left Shinonon in the care of the Hakurokaku Inn, but currently she can always be found at his side. Okay, Karulau. A woman of enigmatic beauty, she lived in the Imperial Capital as the proprietor of the Hakurokaku Inn. One of Kuon's mothers, in quotations, Karulau is graceful and elegant, and Kuon admires her attitude. At first glance, she seems like a calm and noble beauty, but she is also a heavy drinker and wields tremendous strength. The chain around her neck is a memento from a certain figure in her past, and she refuses to take it off. Okay, oh my gosh, there's still a load more to go. Kuon. The Princess of Tuscuru. She was raised with the love of many parental figures, with the Olo Oboro at the center of her family unit. She is trained as an apothecary, and while young, she is quite skilled. She has a great passion for bathing, and one of the greatest joys in life is soaking in a hot bathtub. Previously, she had been on a personal journey across many countries in the guise of a simple traveler. In her travels, she stumbled upon the protagonist and named him Haku. Through all her time spent as Haku's guardian, she grew to develop feelings for him. Oh, don't remind me about that! Even without realizing it at first. After enduring some unusual circumstances, she and Haku ended up working as Oshito's agents in Yamato. However, as a result, she was swept up into a conflict that violently changed the political landscape of Yamato, and lost Haku in the process. This caused her innate powers to briefly go out of control, and she temporarily lost her memories. But once she regains them, she made the decision to invade Yamato as the Princess of Tuscuru. Kurou. A warrior of Tuscuru. Kurou is a confidant of Benawi, and seems to know Kuon. A seasoned soldier with a body as tough as steel. Wild, bold, and stout-hearted, he remains completely cool and unfazed by Haku's balloon-aided surprise attack. Upon witnessing Kuon in a moment of emotional distress, Kurou reminded her of the resolution she must possess on the battlefield. The other male leaders of Tuscuru, wow, I'm skimming over stuff. He is one of Kuon's fathers, but he's more feared as a mean older brother. Mikado. Oh, he has his eyes open. The Emperor of Yamato. According to rumor, he established the Imperial Capital himself, displayed incredible supernatural powers in the wars past, and has lived for at least 2 centuries since the founding of Yamato. He is considered an almighty being by the citizenry. He appears as a spindly old man who seems to be physically handicapped, and uses a wheelchair. He had another face as his alter ego, Mito, and he had been in contact with Haku as that persona, but his true identity is a survivor of the ancient race of mankind, thought to be extinct. One of the last Onvaitai Kian, and the true brother of Haku. During Yamato's invasion of Tuscuru, he was met with a surprise attack, and his assassination was the trigger that threw Yamato into chaos. Mito. A good-natured old man, Aruruu and Serrano led Haku to meet. He calls himself a retired crepe merchant. Mito seemed to approve greatly of Haku, and held a feast for him, using Aruruu and Serrano to call upon him. Eventually, Haku realized the old man's true identity. See entry for the Mikado. Well, we already saw that. Munechika, how you doing? Are you still alive? A woman of unshakable calm, she is the Imperial governess who is assigned to educate Anju. After appearing to bring Anju back from the Hakurokaku Inn, she herself started to become a constant visitor in the name of royal protection. She's partial to sweet treats, and contrary to her general demeanor, Munechika possesses a surprisingly feminine side, and she immediately befriended the other team members in the Hakurokaku Inn. In truth, she is a member of the 8 Pillar Generals. known by the moniker of Munechika the Guardian. She's also an Ikura Turuka, skilled in defensive battles, and heroically protected the country from barbarian tribe invasions in the past. During the Tuscru invasion, when all others were ordered to retreat, Munechika voluntarily stayed in Tuscru to act as rear guard for the retreating forces. Her current whereabouts are unknown. Of course. Oh, Nekane. Younger sister of Oshto. She's an adorable girl. How did I struggle with that? Girl with a childlike appearance. Despite her looks, she's quite intelligent, and her speech is polite and articulate. Though the youngest examinee to date, she passed the Imperial Exam, the toughest academic challenge in the country. She is erudite, and aloof, but she also loves sweets and fawns on her brother when no others are looking. One of the few sides of her that seems to be appropriate for her age. At her brother's request, she accompanies Haku and friends, and uses fire-based magecraft to fight in battle. With his last breath, you just had to remind us, Oshtar entrusted Haku to her care. This would change the course of her life dramatically. After arriving in Enna Kamui, being the only other person who knew the truth of what happened to Oshtar, Haku, she pledges to support him and keep his secret, but it proves to be a heavy burden on her young heart. You had to specify that specifically. She's adorable and has a young heart. Yes. Nozuri, a girl who aims to be renowned or become renowned as a noble bandit and restore the honor of her family name. She is a proficient archer and had been leading a team named the Nozuri Thieves. She has a beautiful face, almost unsuitable for a bandit, and a generous bosom. There was another mention of one of those. She's accompanied by her brother Ogi. She has a strong sense of justice, but this only seems to fuel her delusions of grandeur. Her somewhat careless character often brings unnecessary complication to the team's endeavors. Originally from even Kuruga, she places great significance in her own belief of justice, and even upon arriving at Enna Kamui, she continues to help Oshito Haku, demonstrating her loyalty to Anju. Oboro, a person involved in the establishment of the country of Tuscru. He is Tuscru's Olo and the father of Kuon. He loves his daughter Kuon dearly, and during his incognito visit to Yamato, he revealed the depth of his parental love to Haku, though he was inebriated at the time. He always has the twins Dorry and Guraa at his side. Oboro's hobby is to prepare tea. While his duties as Olo are mostly political, he's said to be even more skilled than any of his subordinates. Oshito! Yamato's Imperial Guard of the right. Oh, this is the OG one, yeah, the one that, died. He wears an Hakuroka to hide his face. A man of integrity, both a valorous warrior and a learned scholar. Trusted and beloved by the citizens of Yamato, and granted a post of honor and distinction by the Mikado. Originally from Enna Kamui, Oshito had made his way up through the ranks based on merit, rather than title and nobility, earning him the jealousy and envy of numerous aristocrats and high officials. Nekane is his young sister, and Kiru is his sworn brother. He patrols the capital while disguised as Ukon. When he discovered Haku's true potential, he recruited him to become his trusted personal agent. Upon the Mikado's demise, he was arrested and tortured under suspicion of poisoning the Mikado and Anju. But he was rescued by Haku and friends. On the way to Enna Kamui, while escorting Anju, he encountered Vurai, who thirsted for revenge. Though he managed to emerge victorious, the battle was won at a heavy cost. Having exhausted his body with the power of the Hakuroka, in his final moments, Oshito entrusted his legacy and the Hakuroka to Haku. Yeah, that did happen. Oh, there's the other Oshito. Haku. Haku's new appearance after having donned the Akuruka and inherited Oshito's determination to protect Anju. Combining Oshito's political power and Haku's own ingenuity. I botched that word. Moving on. He puts all his efforts toward restoring the title of Mikado to Anju. That was only short and sweet. I was expecting another wall of text. Ogi, the generous bandit Nozoru's younger brother. Though still young, Ogi is a sharp man who is skilled in intelligence gathering and psychological warfare. He loves his sister dearly, and he firmly believes that her happiness is his happiness. This typically puts everyone else around him into unfavorable positions, made all the worse by the fact that he clearly knows full well the consequences of their actions. He assists Haku and friends when they go into harm's way, but however just the cause, he appears to hold no personal investment in it, preferring simply to follow his sister. After rescuing Anju, he and Kurou stayed inside the Imperial Capital to help the family members of Oshito's elite escape the city. Even after successfully leading them to Kamui, he accompanies Oshito, Haku, alongside his sister. Ozen, the Olo of Kujuri, and one of the 8 Pillar Generals, father of Rouletie. Though he's skilled in combat, he was appointed as an Olo by the Mikado more for his accomplishments in restoring natural life and agriculture to the wastelands and expanding the nation. Therefore, he is known as Ozen, the Harvester. Rouletie, a princess and youngest daughter of Ozen, the Olo of Kujuri. She's a bit shy, quiet, and physically slight. Being the youngest of 15 siblings may have had some influence on her development. Wait, was the specific count ever mentioned? Holy moly! However, when someone disrespects her beloved Cocopo, her temper flares. After safely arriving in the Imperial Capital, she continued to stay in the company of Haku and friends. She's skilled in cooking, brewing tea, and making assorted confections. Occasionally, with Haku's help, she invents an entirely new type of snack, and some of their creations have become quite popular items among the citizens of the Imperial Capital. Yep, that's why there's a war breaking out, didn't you know? It's because of all those Rulus and puffs. In the battlefield, she rides on Cocopo, who handles most of the actual fighting, though she was unable to articulate it. She had feelings for Haku, and when the group was informed of his death, she took the news somewhat worse than the others. Since then, she has become more emotionally withdrawn. Yeah. Sarana, a girl gifted to Haku by the Mikado along with Aruruu. They hold great power within them, and they are also called the Kamunagi of Chains. They are the daughters of Honoka and her eventual successors. Sarana and Aruruu look strikingly similar to each other, but Aruruu has a darker skin tone, and her speech is considerably more polite than her sister's. They pledge their absolute loyalty to Haku as if they live only to serve him. The resolve appears unwavering, as when Haku told them that their attentions are not needed, they tried to commit suicide. Yeah! Thankfully that did not come to pass. Their passionate and rather warped sense of devotion is a constant source of the confusion for the team. In battle, Aruruu and Sarana prove their usefulness by deploying powerful magecraft, creating magical barriers, and using other strange and arcane powers. Their unparalleled loyalty to Haku and their powerful abilities make them absolutely dependable allies in times of war. Upon their arrival at Kamui, they were resting due to being exhausted from the previous battle. After awakening, however, they swiftly recognized the change in their master, and they assist Oshiter Haku with their magecraft to hide the truth of his identity. Sasara, one of the girls from the other world, she is considered an aloof and noble person, but she seems strangely partial to slimy and squishy life forms. Shinanon, the adopted daughter of Jachdwalt, a little girl who is always cheerful. She was taken as a hostage by Uzurusha, but was rescued thanks to a scheme devised by Haku. Later, she joins Haku and his friends along with her father. She seems to be attached to Kurou, but from Shinonon's perspective, it may seem more like Kurou is the one following her. While in the Imperial Capital, she was often left in the care of the Hakurokaku Inn, but currently she can always be found at Jachdwalt's side. So Yankika, Papa Atuy! Atuy's father and one of the 8 Pillar Generals, he was given a duty by the Mikado himself to govern all the territorial seas of Yamato. He's also known as Soyankikar the Mariner. A master of naval warfare, his name strikes fear in the hearts of pirates. Soyankikar is in all appearances a true sailor and has a noticeably smothering personality, which bothers even Atuy. He loves his daughter more than anything, and believes that any bugs who dare approach her should be crushed immediately. Tamaki Kosaka, one of the girls from the other world. She's both skilled and beautiful, and she's got a weak spot in her heart for dogs. Whether or not Unu can be considered a dog, of course, is still a matter of contention. I don't know much about Sasara and Tamaki, because Dungeon Travelers 2 only really has them as optional DLC. What horror game did they even originate from, I wonder? Maybe it wasn't ever localized, though. Anyway, Torikori, the mother of Oshita and Nekune. She lives by herself on the outskirts of Enna Camyu. After her husband died, she raised Oshita and Nekune as a single mother. Kind and gentle, she is a loving mother, but she has a frail constitution, and her eyes have gotten worse over the years. As a result, she lives a fairly quiet life in her home. Kuon! Oh gosh, the Deadman. A chivalrous, spirited warrior who was trusted dearly by his men. He took a shine to Haku and Kuon immediately after meeting them, and became their companion on the road to the Imperial Capital. His true identity was the General Oshita. He used the guise of Ukon to walk among the people of the capital and discreetly keep the peace. Aruruu. Okay, we're going to keep this one brief though, because I'm going to assume that this is pretty much the same. So let's read this out. A girl gifted to Haku by the Mikado along with Sarana. They hold great power within them, and they are also called the Kamunagi of Chains. They are the daughters of Honoka and her eventual successors. Aruruu and Sarana look strikingly similar to each other, but Aruruu has a paler skin tone, and her speech is considerably more laconic than her sisters. And then the same is just gonna be, yeah, this is all the same, right? Yep. Okay, we'll just skim over that. Vurai, one of the 8 Pillar Generals of Yamato, also known as Vurai the Vanguard. His devotion to the Mikado is far more than that of the other generals, bordering on zealotry. And for his bravery, the Mikado had granted Vurai Anukuraka. He strongly believed that might makes right. Hey, it rhymes! And his life's goal was to further strengthen the absolute power of the Mikado. Therefore, he crushed the Mikado's enemies completely, without exception. This often placed him in direct opposition to Oshita, who prefers to pay respects to enemies, and avoid unnecessary casualties wherever possible. Upon the demise of the Mikado, he suspected Oshita of foul play. When Anju was poisoned, he held fast to his conviction that Oshita was behind it, and arrested him, refusing to acknowledge the young and frail Anju as a worthy successor to the Mikado. He chose to imprison her. Next, Vurai plotted to make himself the next Mikado. He was defeated by Haku and the party, who came to rescue Oshita, and they took Anju from his custody. However, Vurai was enraged. Left alive after the battle, he believed that Oshita had taken pity on him and refused to finish him off. In his final duel with Oshita, Vurai unleashed the full power of his Hakuroka, but they were equally matched. Driven back, Vurai ultimately fell from a great cliff and disappeared into the abyss below. Maybe he comes back. Who knows? Oh, Yuzuha. Oh, they don't even have a picture of her. Don't worry, I'll remember about you. Okay. Kuon's real mother and the younger sister of Tuskuru's Olo, Oboro. She was diagnosed with an uncurable disease at a young age, but with the devoted care of all those around her, she was able to live a peaceful life. When she realized her time of death was approaching, she wished for a child to pass her strong will onto, and so Kuon was born. However, she passed away soon after giving birth, in young adulthood. To Aruruu and Camyu, who she was very good friends with, she was also called Yuzu. Oh, I was so sad when she died. Oh no, really? Wait, they have this guy here, but not the other Sandman? You put Gundi here, but not Zeguni. I'm calling him Gundi, by the way. I can't pronounce his name. The king of Uzurusha. He dominated and controlled more than 100 nomadic tribes, and unified them into a formidable military power. In accordance with his treating the entire nation as an army, Gundi pillaged and absorbed smaller nations around Uzurusha, and used the momentum to try and invade Yamato. He is rude, barbaric, and cruel. If his wrath is incurred, he will not hesitate even to kill a mere messenger from another nation. In battle, he only approves of frontal assault with a massive force, and favors slaughtering his enemies with his own hands. He is a cold-hearted warlord who dares not hesitate to force captured foreign citizens to fight for his army as Naquan. Against Yamato, his forces briefly appeared superior, but were eventually defeated by the power of Oshito and the 8 Pillar Generals. His current fate is unknown. Okay, in all fairness, he might make a reappearance here then. But even then, I don't know. Okay, now it's just on to locations. Oh my gosh, over 30 minutes spent on the people. Okay, Enna Kamui, home country of Oshito, Nekuni, and Kiryu. It's a small outland country based in a valley and surrounded by mountains. It is not particularly noted for its wealth, but it is considered to be a citadel protected by nature itself. The Olo is Kiryu's grandfather, Irawaji. Kujuri, Rouletier's home country, a small nation located far in the west of Yamato. It used to be a massive, barren wasteland, but the Olo Ozen managed to reclaim and expand the territory, restoring life to it. It's an outland with poor soil conditions, so the citizens' lives there are promised not to be easy. However, they live in harmony with the climate, managing to maintain clean and pure lifestyles while preserving their culture. On Kamyamukai. Nailed it. Located farther west of Tuskuru, it is also known as the land where God sleeps. Approximately a decade ago, there was a huge battle for dominance of a hidden power within this region, which nearly resulted in its destruction. It is the center of worship in Tuskuru, and many pilgrims come to pray at its shrines. The deepest parts of Onkami Yamukai are considered a place of peace by the citizens of Tuskuru. Something within this land drove the Mikado to declare an invasion of Tuskuru, in an attempt to acquire the mysterious prize in question. The Imperial Capital, the capital from which the Mikado rules his nation, Yamato. It has a beautifully ornamented front great gate situated in the center of high outer walls, and serviceable sturdy buildings stand in rows within each district of the city. After the passing of the Mikado, its internal administration is in a state of disarray. Tuskuru, an island located to the west of Yamato. Many years ago, it was a land made up of many smaller countries, but after a great conflict that brought upon many smaller nations to heal, the land was unified as Tuskuru. Peace followed unification, and the land soon began to focus on culture and growth. It's a small island within a warm climate, known to some as the land where God sleeps. There was a time where emissaries were sent to officially establish diplomatic relations with Yamato, but this uneasy peace was broken when the Mikado ordered the invasion of Tuskuru. Uzurusha, a country located north of Yamato. Most of its population is made up of nomadic tribes, which once numbered over 100. However, due to their arid and dry climate, the tribes would constantly fight over what little arable land could be found. Individual groups occasionally tried to raid border towns of the neighboring land of Yamato, and were treated by them as savages. But due to the small scale of the attacks, nothing came of it. Recently, the first king Gundi managed to unify various tribes together to form a cohesive nation. Afterwards, he took over nearby territories and declared war against Yamato in an attempt to seize control, but he was unable to complete his victory. Instead, war continued at the northern border. They attempted to invade Yamato again, this time with a new and improved army making heavy use of the Kuon. But due to the intervention of the 8 pillar generals, Gundi's army was defeated, and the war ended. Afterwards, Yamato seized control, and Uzurusha's size and influence was drastically lessened. And Yamato, a giant nation comprised of countless smaller countries. Each vassal country is governed by their Owo, or a head clan. The Mikado rules over them all. Yamato employs a grand army with the 8 pillar generals at its core, and they are more than capable of fending off invasions from other lands. Yamato invaded Tuskuru under orders from the Mikado. However, the military conflict was deadlocked by the Mikado's sudden demise. The Imperial Guard of the Right, Oshito, was apprehended as the chief suspect of assassinating the Mikado, and the incident caused great turmoil in the internal administration of the country. Before long, Oshito managed to rescue Princess Anju, who was being incarcerated in the palace, and fled to Ina Kamui. There, Oshito declared his intent to take back the Imperial Capital. Okay, that's 2 things done. Next is culture. Academy, a place of study and academia in the world. That gets the star we come from. Yeah, there we go. Hakuroka, a mask given by the Mikado to warriors of great prestige. The ones that receive the masks are called the Kuruturuka. There are multiple masks, and each has a distinct set of special powers. Only the Kuruturuka can bring out those powers, but it is said that eventually the mask will fuse together with the wearer and steal their soul. Hakurokaku Inn, an inn in the Imperial Capital that Haku and his group used as a base of operations. It's a unique building that many say is a bit different. It's a bit more pricey than similar establishments, but it's known for quality service. There is a large spa within, complete with a large bathtub. To Kuon's delight, the innkeeper, Karulau, built the inn when she first arrived in the nation and missed the baths of her homeland. A hidden room on the top floor contains her personal quarters. There is a hidden door underground that leads to an imperial water source. Imperial Exam, the ultimate test to attain the title of Master Scholar. The candidates remain in the academic building until the exam is over, which commonly takes about 10 days. During this time, they are forbidden from leaving the building. The acceptance rate is extremely low, approximately 1 person every few years. Imperial Guard, the position that commands Yamato's army. For the army of the Imperial Capital, 2 officers hold this rank. Currently, the Imperial Guard of the right is Oshito, and the Imperial Guard of the left is Mikazuchi. For Tuskuru, the equivalent rank is War Master. Kamunagi, also known as a priestess, it is a term used to refer to women who do divine work. They use special powers to perform certain rites, incantations, and prayers. and they are usually revered by the people. Also see Okamiya Ryu of... Oh my gosh, butchered. Kamunagi of Chains. Among the Kamunagi of Yamato, this refers to a designated few who are vested with unusual powers. Currently, this refers to Aruruu and Sarana. What the Honkenstein is this again? Oh, that place! Kotua Hamaru. Muru? Kotua Hamuru. Whatever. A heaven-like destination where one's soul finds eternal life. How say that? I don't know. Nugwiso Kaami. Spirits that bring about disaster. It is said that children who do bad things are taken by the Nugwiso Kami at night and trapped in a dark world forever. Basically yokai. Olo. Rulers that govern a land. Those in Yamato have earned the trust of the Mikado. Members of the most powerful family in a given region are often appointed as Olo as a matter of course. However, some few receive their titles directly from the Mikado himself. As one charged with the governance of the entire land, even the Mikado can be referred to as an Olo of sorts. In other countries, the person with the most power in that land is often called an Olo as well. Perirai, archers. They excel in long-distance attacks, but suffer in close quarters. Therefore, their main task is usually to support the advance of ground units. With a large number of soldiers, they can rain arrows down on the battlefield to bring a fight to a swift close. However, it takes intensive training to become a military archer, so there are only a handful of nations that can deploy sizable Perirai forces. Okay! Oh gosh, this is going to take yonks in at the lifestyle, because there's all the food and whatnot. Oh no! Bath! Why does there have to be lore about bathing? Come on. Kuon would be proud though. In Tuskuru, this refers to a bath taken in water. Usually in a tub. In Yamato, however, steam baths are more common. The people of Tuskuru are known to be bath lovers, and their bath additive culture has developed on its own. In Yamato, water bathing is a considerably rare practice, and usually restricted to the upper classes. However, the Hakurokaku Inn in the Imperial Capital has a bathtub that can even be used by the general public. And while their rates are somewhat on the expensive side, the inn is gaining popularity. Bath additive. A chemical product put into a water bath. It is often seen as a luxury item, and they usually consist of ingredients like scented and fruits. Like scented and fruits? What? Huh? Okay. But there are some made by apothecaries for specifically medicinal purposes. And to screw bathing in a tub has become an indispensable part of the culture, and as a result, some apothecaries have come to specialize in these creations. Kuon's love for bathing does not stop at the simple act thereof, and each day she puts more effort into her research, putting together a bath additive to surpass even the finest quality ones at markets. Boro Tea! What? Oh my lordy. When Oboro started making tea as his hobby, Aruruu created this phrase to describe his tea, considering that his flavor was difficult to put into words. Currently, Oboro's tea is high enough quality for anyone to appreciate. Its bad reputation has thankfully faded somewhat. Honey! A substance collected from honeybee hives, after they've gathered sweet nectar from flowers. It's been used for both cooking and medicinal remedies for an extraordinarily long time. It can be expensive, making it difficult for ordinary citizens to acquire. Kuon is extremely partial to it. It can also be used to make mead, which is an alcoholic drink made by adding water to honey and fermenting it. Hororon Bird. The Hororon Bird is an avian species that runs on the ground rather than flying. Normally, they are raised for human consumption, and depending on their breed, they can display bright and colorful plumage. They sing with the distinctive chirping sounds that inspired the name for their species. Rouletier's Cocopo is also a Hororon bird, but it seems to feature a spontaneous mutation. Its body is far larger than a standard member of the species. Kimamau, beasts that live mainly in the woodland areas of Tuskuru. They often act in a group centered around a strong male, a harem of many females and a few weaker males. They have some amount of intelligence, and as they raid crops with some coordination, many see them as pests. They are infamous for their behavior in mating season, in which they screech with loud cries that can be heard even while covering one's ears. Kimamau is also used as an insult to refer to people with short tempers. Kurou, jellyfish-like opaque creature that usually sits on top of Atuy's head. Usually they float around near shorelines, riding the wind. Unless humans provoke them, they're usually gentle and non-aggressive. They feed on bugs, rodents, and fish, subduing them by electrocuting them using 2 long tentacles. Despite its appearance, it is highly intelligent. This one has taken a liking to Atuy and acts as if it understands the language of people. Mead. A beverage made with honey. It has a smooth and mild flavor, but it's also used as an aphrodisiac. Kuon's favorite drink. Mororo, tater lore again. Plant that grows in Tuskuru, with multiple nutrient-rich tubers that grow on the roots. In the wild, it grows in forests, but the ones typically available for consumption are largely harvested and managed by farmers. In the warm climate of Tuskuru, they can be harvested stably throughout the year, and has become a staple food of Tuskuru's people. There are many ways to prepare mororo, such as boiling, mashing, or stewing, and it is enjoyed as a part of many dishes, such as Mororo Porridge. Mororo Porridge. Tuskuru home cleaning? Cleaning? People clean themselves with taters now? That uses mororo. Generally, a small amount of grains, mororo, and salt is mixed together and boiled until thick. It is said that each household's recipe has a distinct flavor, with different additions and spices used as hidden flavors. It is easily digested and easy on the stomach, often provided to the sick for nutrients and comfort. Rouletier's treats. Snacks prepared by Rouletier for when Haku and the others were gathered. They seem high quality enough to be fit for sale in a store, but they are Rouletier's own work. Rouletier already possessed some considerable talent in cooking, and making sweets was already a hobby of hers. But with Haku's suggestions and new ideas, she's managed to create all kinds of new treats. Sake leaf stew. Home cooking that uses the byproduct of sake production, sake leaves, and various vegetables. With a mild taste, it is beloved by adults and children alike. It is one of Rouletier's specialty dishes, and the stews that include mororo are Kuon's favorite. Tea? Oh my gosh! There's lore for cuppas. There's still no coffee in this world, though! Why can't there be any coffee? Tea is much loved by the people of this world, and many varieties can be found in each country and region. In Yamato, tea leaves are boiled first. From there, heated milk, sugar, salt, and spices can be mixed in. Sugar is normally expensive in this world, but will not be spared if for the sake of optimal tea enjoyment. Ordinary citizens typically use a more affordable brown sugar, though honey is often used when entertaining honored guests. In Tuskuru, on the other hand, green tea is more common. One can obtain green tea in certain areas of Yamato as well, but owing to the people of Yamato favoring a sweeter flavor compared to the bitterness of green tea, and the relative difficulty in maintaining quality and preserving it, it remains a rarity only used by nobles when entertaining guests. Okay, we're almost done with lifestyle. Oh! Uwabami! A word to describe a heavy drinker or someone who can hold their drink. It holds a slightly negative connotation. Anju used this as an insult towards Kuon, but she is not aware that there are those who far exceed Kuon's level of indulgence. What the heck is with that art? Oh yeah, I see, yeah, Kurou and Karulau. You know, there was nothing about Toka! Or Maruro, now that I think about it. What the heck? Wopto. A generic term for the mounts in this world. A bipedal creature used for transport and as a beast of burden. It is also used in military cavalry. In Tuskuru, Waptors are covered in scales, and in Yamato, they are covered in feathers. While they look drastically different, they are still different breeds of the same species. Its main diet includes cereal, grain, and plants, and they seem quite friendly of humans. When in a bad mood, it squawks loudly. Okay, miscellaneous. Oh my gosh, I ate a wall. What the? Okay. Oh, so that's where Atuy's name comes from. Atuy Karo no Kami? I don't know. A goddess that many sailors put their belief in. Well, I mean, Atuy's kind of like one of those already, right? Including the people of Shiyahoro. Beautiful and powerful, she is known to protect those on sea voyages. But she is also said to be a terrible drunk. Frequently shallow and easily infatuated with handsome men, she is said to have exceptionally bad luck with men. 2. According to the myth, any man who Atuy Karo no Kami sets her sights on is destined for an early death. Oh my gosh, it's basically Atuy in goddess form. 8 Pillar Generals. The collective name for the 8 Pillar Generals of Yamato. Unlike other generals, they were appointed to their position by the Mikado himself. Some of them are equipped with their own akuruka as a recognition for their military achievements. On the other hand, some manage to acquire the position purely by familiar inheritance. Ghost. An entity that wanders the realm of mortals. Even after death, they are unable to go to place because of their crimes during their lifetime or from lingering regrets. Imperial Governess. One tasked with protecting and educating the prince/princess. It's an extremely important position, so only people of the utmost integrity and honesty are ever considered for the position. The role of Anju's Imperial Governess is occupied by Munechika, but it is extremely unorthodox and not optimal for a general to perform this function. Kamna, a spiritual and biological state in which the divine elemental patron within a person grows especially strong, reflecting in the person's physical state and capabilities. The most common types are the 4 that adhere to the classical elements, but there are also 2 rarer varieties. A person's innate elemental faith is something unique to them from birth, and one from the above possibilities usually stabilizes as the person's dominant element. Very rarely, there are some cases where the elements do not stabilize into one dominant form, and instead all of them are represented with equal power within a person. However, this creates a state where the resulting volatility will destroy the body from within. If the person's body can control this elemental contention, it is said they would be able to obtain great power. But it is thought impossible to control them through mortal means. For all intents and purposes, this state of elemental instability is considered to be an incurable disease. Muchikappa stance. This refers to a martial arts stance of Tuskuru, or the distinctive way that its practitioners carry themselves. This stance is said to represent the true culmination of the teachings of martial arts. It is based on the Muchikappa, a creature said to be a messenger of the gods, and the style aims to match their unstoppable movements, powerful enough to entrance onlookers, curse their opponents, and utterly destroy solid bone. If one were to describe the form, it would be similar to that of a maneki neko, or a lucky cat. Nosary Thieves, a group with Nosary as the head and Ogi as the second in command. The team is united in their admiration of Nosary, and as they've come to understand Nosary well, many of them are capable of supporting her just as Ogi does. When they first met Haku and friends, they appeared to be mere bandits, but in reality they were disguised for an undercover operation, and were cooperating with the Imperial Court. When Nosary started working alongside Haku as an undercover operative of Oshito, all other members besides Nosary and Ogi were sent to villages across the land, and began working there thanks to Oshito's personal commendation. Okay, steel fan. A fan made of steel that looks well used but well kept. Kuon had lent it to Haku before the Gigiri extermination. The fan appears to be stained in a deliberate pattern, and the frame contains hidden blades concealed in grooves. Ukon determines that poison is meant to be poured into them. After the death of Oshito and Haku assuming his identity, it was returned to Kuon by Haku in disguise, intending it to serve as proof of his own death. Tamarind stance. This refers to a martial arts stance of Tuskuru, or the distinctive way that its practitioners carry themselves. This stance is defense-focused, and aims to repel all attacks, based on the described movement of a dragon from a foreign land. It was said to have a dense, impenetrable hide, and it only ever appeared before the strongest of warriors. Only a handful of masters are said to have a true grasp of this style. Tenshimi Kamunagi. Oh my gosh, trophy! A rank of great prestige, given to the Kamunagi that administers the religious services of Tuskuru. A legendary divine creature of Yamato, a deified dog whose breed had become extinct in ancient times. It is believed to be unfailingly loyal to the person it acknowledges as its master, and will use its divine power to protect them at all costs. Doesn't belong in this world as well. War Master, the highest rank among generals in Tuskuru. Benawi is the War Master of Tuskuru's mounted soldiers. Yana Mauna. The legend says that there was once an entity that could understand the feelings of various animals, including beasts and birds. She was even said to be able to directly communicate with the creatures. The term is now mostly used to describe someone who simply has a natural, but mundanely achieved talent for handling animals. Aruruu is especially known for being a powerful Yana Mona, and when she met Rouletie, she told her that she had the potential. Are we done? Okay, we're ignoring the tutorial. Oh my gosh! That was a lengthy read! I mean, I did have a lot of stumbles and bumbles and wumbles and whatever word I can come up with from under the sun. But anyway, folks, thank you all for watching this really lengthy bonus episode for Utawarerumono Mask of Truth. Subsequent ones will be significantly shorter, probably. So, ta-ta for now.